Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Pressure to Passion podcast, redefining your life after trauma. I am your host, Miss D May, and I'm excited. I'm beyond excited today because I'm joined by two phenomenal women. I'm going to give you a little breakdown. We have Miss G Williams. G is the CEO, founder, and creative force behind Rumedii Superfoods. She's a highly experienced entrepreneur with over 20 years skin in the game, fashion, beauty, you name it, she's done it. She's been in multiple publications such as Pride magazine and British Vogue, just to name a few. Again, we have another incredible woman, Miss Leanne Pero MBE, baby. Leanne is the CEO and founder, multiple award-winning CEO and founder of the Leanne Pero Foundation, and which houses the flagship charity Black Women Rising. Black Women Rising exists to empower women of colour through their cancer journey. As well as founding the charity, Leanne is a self-published author, speaker, social entrepreneur, business. Listen, if I was to sit here and list these ladies' credentials, we would not get through the podcast. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, okay. Before we get into it, I have some quick fire questions for you. All right? Right. For those that don't know, G is my cousin. I am blessed to have her here. So G, if you had any superpower in the world, what would it be and why would you have it?
Interesting. Superpower for me, I used to be blind. So obviously, you know that I was blind for 5 years. So my superpower would probably be to be invincible, to help people.
Wow.
Do good deeds and not no one know who it's me that's done it for them.
Yeah.
I think that would be...
Like a little ninja in the dark.
Yeah. that would be
that.
mine. Invincibility would be mine.
No,
Definitely.
I like that. I love that. Leanne, what? Okay, so not a superpower, but what has been your most adventurous thing that you've ever done?
After I got through breast cancer, I did 5 countries in 5 months.
What?
Yeah,
Amazing.
I did 5 countries in 5 months. That was adventurous to me
Yeah.
because it was it was amazing.
No, I love that. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, 5 countries in 5 months.
Yeah, I did.
I love it. Okay, so we're gonna get into it, and you've both touched on some of the things that I wanted to speak to you about. Leanne with cancer and G with being blind. So can you just talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you became to be the founder of Rumedii Superfoods?
Gosh, the journey itself started with my son into Rumedii Superfoods because I was pregnant with my son and I said, once I get pregnant, I'm going to retire. So previously I was in management and PR, branding, and also had my own fashion showroom in Notting Hill. Also nail salon as well. Also makeup studio as well. So all of that, I said, once I get to become a mother, then obviously I need to stop. And then I did, sold the businesses and became pregnant with roommate King. And it was a case of, what do I do now? Pregnancy went all fine, but then he was born at 28 weeks. So then, to cut a long story short, it was a case of he was in hospital for 2 years. We had to live in hospital for 2 years. And he lost his small intestine, and he lives now with shortcut syndrome, and he's on life support every night.
So for those that don't know, just explain what shortcut syndrome is.
Shortcut syndrome is basically he doesn't have no small intestine at all. He has his large intestine. He lost his intestine. He is 2 children out of 17 children that survived that day. And it was due to necrotizing enterocolitis, which is a flesh gut-eating bug. So forwarding back, we had to live 2 years in hospital. And within living in the hospital, Royal London, I appreciate you all and all the nurses there and doctors. I became a nutritionist. I became a holistic practitioner. Wow. And I studied cannabis and hemp, the plants, because I just said to myself, what do I do in this time frame and also to keep him alive? And one thing they said to me is that he would always be malnourished. So I said to myself, oh, he's not going to be malnourished under my watch.
Yeah.
You know, I just, not under my watch.
My watch, yeah.
So complete career change from management PR, luxury branding, working with some of the world's most famous department stores, them as my, me doing consulting for them, to name a few. Obviously, we now know that Rumedii's 3 years now in Selfridges.
Congrats, Selfridges. Yes.
You know, and we just, was it 2 weeks ago? We are now a permanent brand in Selfridges.
You didn't tell me that. Oh my God.
So now we are permanently.
What I'm talking about
in there.
to passion, turning the things that people consider to be pain into what is now your passion. And you didn't set out to become.
No, I made the brand to feed him.
Yeah.
So initially the brand was to feed him. And then it was my dad that said to me, well, if it's helping him, why don't you offer it to the world? And I was like, I'm tired. I literally said, how can I produce, manufacture? And that is literally what I'm doing. Yeah. So we're going into the Birmingham and Manchester store for Selfridges and Co. I want to also thank Adrian Boswell. Don't cry. Adrian Boswell, the amazing king of Selfridges. I don't care, I'm saying it. And if anyone hates on Adrian for me saying that, he's the one that literally got me into Selfridges and took the chance on Rumedii, and he loves the brand Selfridges. They now call our brand a cult brand.
Because people just buy it and just...
They don't even buy one at a time. Wow. So now I invented 30 products. The main products in Selfridges are the gels, the drinks and the tonics. So now
I take on a regular.
Always. So now we're moving forward now into having the full collection and the ambient range in all stores across the UK.
I am so proud.
Thank you.
I am so proud.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
So that's the journey in the short space. Yeah.
So what did you find were the most challenging times, and how did you kind of navigate your way through those challenging times and see light at the end of the tunnel?
I think everyone thinks it's easy being an entrepreneur and a mother. It's not. It's not. You have to balance your time, ensure that there is childcare, to ensure that, you know, my son he doesn't have a small intestine. So I always have to make sure that he's okay. And I have learned to say no to people, not to say it in a bad way, but if I'm tired and I can't do something, I honestly have to say, I'm sorry, I can't. Sometimes I don't even say sorry, I just say no. I just say no. And burnout is real.
Oh gosh.
Burnout is real, because literally I've blacked out how many times?
Once on the way from my house, right?
Yeah. Whoa. That's serious. And I think people don't understand to listen to your body. And if you don't listen to your body will take you down, and it will tell you. And I had to learn that, not the hard way, but it's the fact that when you believe, oh, I'm young and I can do this and I can do that. I'm now in my 40s. I listen to my body. It's that learning curve. You know, mum and dad, family members, that you have to remember, you have to save yourself at the end of the day. In the hardest of times, you are by yourself, and you have to tell yourself you can do something, or you need to go and sit down and sleep. It's the very simple things when you're going through so much trauma, but at the same time, you have to run a business. You're a public figure. You are also a mother. So when you balance those three together, it becomes a whole world of responsibility. And how do you manage that responsibility, and ensuring that there's also cash flow within your business?
Absolutely.
Because people think listen, being an entrepreneur,
exactly.
it's to a point where I literally sit down and I think to myself, gosh, if I didn't have my investors as well, and people that believe in me, so I'm sending love also to my investors as well. You know, it's a case of, how you see how many businesses did not survive COVID, right? And I'm talking large businesses gone under, and you think to yourself, gosh, I'm still here and I'm still in Selfridges and
still thriving.
Do you understand? And I have to, you know, mashallah, I'm so happy, alhamdulillah. It's just, for me, it's just thank you. That's all I can say is thank you. Because at the end of the day, for me, if I didn't pursue this journey that I did, I never thought I'd become a nutritionist, a practitioner, a GP.
I remember, sorry to interrupt, but I remember, so I went through my cancer journey and I was in hospital, and she came to visit me in hospital. I was first transplant, I think it was. First transplant. And she was like, I'm going to do superfood. I'm going to do CMOS, right? You're going to be good. You're going to be good. I remember, and you hadn't even started it then because my diagnosis was 2018, right? And you launched yourself just 2020, was it? And when she told me she was doing it, I was like, yeah, man, this is amazing. This is just
good.
I love to have and surround myself with women and people that inspire me and I can learn from, which brings me on to you, Leanne.
Yeah.
Wow. What can I say? Leanne, I want to take this opportunity on my platform, to thank you for the space that you've created with Black Women Rising. And I found Black Women Rising at a time where there was nothing around. And I saw your beautiful face on telly and I DM'd you and I said, is it only for breast cancer patients? And you was like, no, sis, come along. And from that moment, Black Women Rising has embraced me, and I'm a proud Black Women Rising ambassador, and I will fly the flag as long as I can. So can you talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you became to be the founder of Leanne Pero Foundation and Black Women Rising?
Yeah, sure. So my journey started a really long time ago because, I set up my first business really, really young at 15. I was a dance teacher and set up a dance company really young, not on purpose because I wasn't thinking it that way. It became one. And, that dance company was set up because, I was made homeless at 13 years old, went through a really big, sexual abuse case, childhood sexual abuse case, and I had to grow up fast. And I started this dance company to give back to the community, and I started that off of, my passion for dance. So very much community was always very much in my soul from a really young age. Giving back, was always in my soul from a really young age, but also turning traumatic experiences around to help others was always in my soul from a really young age. And then, kind of got on with my life and whatever. And then as I was approaching 30, I was celebrating 15 years of running that dance company, and my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time. And, at that time, I was the only one that was living with her, so I got her through that. And I was busy living my best life at the same time because I was 30, I was chapter gone, in my 30s now, live life. And then 6 months after my mum was diagnosed, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, have 7 siblings. I've always been very healthy, fit. I've got 3 other sisters. I'm the one that's always the active one out of them all and stuff. So it was an absolute shell shock, not just to me, but the whole family, the whole community. Wow. But I guess I went into this really, really dark place after cancer because I was sitting there thinking, am I the only young Black woman with cancer? I knew my mum had it. My mum had it at 36, and that was really young.
Sure.
But for me, 30 years old, fit, healthy, the maths weren't mathing. Plus, I didn't see anyone that looked like me. There was no representation around of anyone that looked like me. On the hospital that I got diagnosed at, they said I was the youngest on their list.
Yeah, same as me.
One woman, when I walked into the clinic, she turned around and was like, wow, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to stare, but I get shocked every time I see a young face in here, And then someone else made a comment, oh, you have to, you've got better chances of winning the lottery than being in here. So how's that meant to make you feel, And I guess I felt so isolated, so lonely, and I just weren't getting the right help and support I needed around me either. Friends, family were great, although some disappeared off the face of the earth. Let's be real now. Cancer can be quite unsociable, so to speak. But I guess I just was looking for my own tribe. And because of that wonderful experience of setting up the dance company, setting up this kind of social business, it gave me the skill set to set this up. And it wasn't, again, on purpose. It was, I got talking to women. I noticed that there's so many women on the chemo ward on their own. And so as I got talking to these women, there was some real big horror stories. So I know the first thing that someone said to me when I got diagnosed, which was, Black people don't usually get cancer, so why have you got it? That was one of the first things I got told.
Shocking, isn't it?
So when you're going around and you're talking to these women, and they're not just saying that, but they're saying, I'm not allowed around my family because they've been told that they think that the cancer's catching.
Wow.
I'm not gonna. I've been told that my cancer is a curse for things that I've done in the past because it's not of God. There was even a woman that was on the ward that another black nurse came and said, "What are you doing here? Because black people don't usually get cancer." That's a nurse. So as I'm hearing these stories, I can't just sit back. I know I'm struggling. They're struggling. So I was like, we need to connect, you know. And then it was one afternoon, I went to the support group attached to the hospital, which was full of about 20 middle-aged white women. I walked in, had no problem. I was going to sit down. And the person who ran the group asked me what I was doing there. And in front of everyone, I had to say, I'm here because I've got cancer. And she apologized and said, I'm so sorry, but you look far too young to be in here. Yeah. And I knew at that point I didn't belong there. Yeah. So that's where I set about, you know, doing a support group for the women.
And it grew and grew and grew from there.
And it grew and it grew and it grew from there. We're now 5 years old.
Yes. Happy birthday, Black Women Rising.
So we're now 5 years old. We have over 500 members. We've raised over £500,000. You know, the stats, I've been putting them together in the last month of what we've been able to achieve in that time is absolutely incredible for a small charity. Do you know what I mean?
Small but mighty is what I like to say.
Yeah, small but mighty. Small but and unique, mighty. You know, like really uniquely positioned. It's a charity that exists because it's needed and, you know, it's, it's really, really exciting.
I'd like to ask both of you, how did the challenges that you went through affect you emotionally and kind of mentally, how did you deal with them? G, you can go first.
I think it affected me emotionally to the point of burnout. Because sometimes you have to think to yourself, can I do this? And if there's no one supporting you, which is on another platform, in a sense, another entrepreneur, to say you can do this. If you don't have that circle of people, it can be very hard. And I think I had to be strong for me. And you have to get selfish for yourself sometimes to pull through. Because like I said earlier, there's no one that's going to save you. And I could chat to my son and my son would be like, okay. But at the same time, if you don't have that circle, and this is another thing, we join in the Rich Forever network as well. We can all bounce off each other and speak about things. We have the group and things like that.
So community and support is
definitely
so
community
vital.
and support. And I think speaking to Byron as well, Dr. Byron Cole, he'd be like, what's wrong with you? Just, you can do it, fix up. And that's what he did initially when it came to launching Rumedii. I was like, Byron, I've never done food before. And he's like, what's wrong? You know, Byron talks.
Yeah, you need to have someone in your corner.
Exactly. That's possibly in your field that understands how hard business can be. But then you can have the family side of it saying, what's wrong with you? Just fix up. But they don't understand that business is hard, you know. And if you're not hitting targets, hitting goals, hitting sales, it's like, am I meant to be still doing this? Do people still need what I have? Am I still relevant? And it's not even just me. And it's just, no, it's not. Because you have to remember there's certain times we're going through a recession at this point, but obviously sales are up in recession for me. So it's kind of like people are more than thinking of their health. So when you do look at stats of your business, it's like, oh, okay, people are thinking,
they will spend their money in the right place.
Exactly. Because if they can get all their minerals and nutrients from a drink, they're not going to go and buy so many things to supplement wise when they can get it from one thing and it supports them for the next 3 days. So that's my thing really. It's just having a good mentor. I've got some amazing mentors throughout the years.
So important.
You know, so it's just, I got Charlotte Mensah, Joe Malone, Nikki Kennard, and those are, you know, Thea, you know, it's and I know these women personally.
Sounds like a lot of women in your life though as well.
There is a lot of
strong women. And I hate that term, strong women, but you know what I mean.
It's not even just to say the women. It's those who are at the forefront of my mind because they've made such an impact on me. But the men I can say would be Richard Ward, which I was in his salon for numerous of years, and he's in Duke of York Square. This is where the royals go and get their hair done and things like that. So he would have been one of the mentors, and then obviously Dr. Byron Cole. So, you know, those are my two main male figures who are highly successful in what they do. But at the same time, it is more the women because they've nurtured me to never be silent. If you have something to say it.
Use your
Because
words.
at the end of the day, but they also tell me on the cusp of that, listen. Because when you listen, you learn.
True.
And moving forward with that, it has taught me a lot about humility, especially being in rooms with different characters and things like that. Sometimes I could be I'm the loudest person in my family, but the quietest in the room in business, because I need to kind of devise who am I dealing. I need to navigate, and sometimes I'm quiet, but
Because you're absorbing the information.
Exactly, and I will learn and I will tally and I'll be like, okay, cool. And obviously, I'm on the spectrum as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it kind of
Sorry, because you're saying things and people may not understand when you say on the spectrum. Elaborate a little bit.
I'm autistic. I have Asperger's, so my IQ is very high, as we know. So I tend to just kind of analyze, and I've learned to be more tactful in speaking.
Because you were just saying things
in speaking and having conversations with people, but I think that comes with age. Whereas when we were younger, it's kind of like, no, and I've learned to kind of not simmer down and become a recluse. It's more of I'm a mother now.
But you didn't get your diagnosis till later in life.
I didn't. I only got my diagnosis after I found out my son, Rumedii King, was, and I thought, that's
starts ringing alarm bells.
Exactly, and then I understand why I procrastinate on certain things, why I feel like I can't do certain things, but then I can do it at the last minute.
And why you thrive at other things,
Right, do you understand? So it's balanced me out, learning more about who I am and how I can do things. But when it comes to being a mother and that responsibility, I'm at the forefront. I don't fail king at all. I'm like, let's go. But when it comes to me, it's a push sometimes because of tiredness, mainly tiredness. And just getting through on a day-to-day basis. And it's not tiredness because I don't want to sleep. It's tiredness because I can't sleep. Because I have so many things going through my mind, idea-wise, when it comes to products, when it comes to life, and also just becoming the CEO of Submission Apparels. So taking on another business as well in the midst of being also with Rumedii. Now I've taken on a clothing brand, and this leads me also, I've been 2 years reverted, becoming to a sister. And for me, it's a learning curve, at the end of the day. And I've learned how to navigate to also move on to becoming a CEO of another business. Because if I felt like I couldn't do it, then I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And that's why that journey there, I've taught myself how to be a better businesswoman.
And congratulations.
As much as I've had mentors.
Congratulations.
And that's all it is.
I love that.
That's all it is.
Such inspiration, such gems you just dropped there, Leanne, how did you navigate yourself mentally and emotionally through a lot of the challenges that you went through? And what would be some of the, I guess, key things that you could give to other people as way as, do you know what, maybe this worked for me, don't dismiss this, think about, this.
It depends in what context, because obviously my journey's been, like, I'm a social entrepreneur, so my work really does revolve around people and communities and building people up. I do that in my personal life, I do it in my private life, and very much from a really young age, they've been meshed together. So it's only in my recovery from cancer, really, where I realised, and I would say more so in the last 5 years than the 7 years from recovering, is actually there's got to be two sides here. It's got to be a separation, because almost like you were saying, I was getting burnt out and I was pouring from an empty cup for a really, really long time, and I love what I do, and I'm so thankful I found my purpose in life to be that community advocate and to help people from a really young age. I've known that in myself.
Yeah, I think that's really special, because a lot of people, especially me, I can talk for myself, that I don't think I found my purpose until quite recently. Hence
I
this
don't
podcast.
think that there's a time limit on it.
No, exactly.
I just think that everybody
has their own journey.
And no one, we're here to share journeys and we're here to share experiences in life. I found my journey really young.
Yeah.
But in order for me to find my purpose and very young, I went through a lot of traumatic experiences really young. So there's no swapping and changing and trading. We all have different lives and we all come from different places and spaces. I think what helps when you see successful people, so someone might look at me and go, oh my God, she's got all this. She does all these brand partnerships. She knows these people. She's at all these glitzy events. This is what I always get.
Yeah.
But
they
no one
don't know
actually
the story.
sees the mechanism behind that or what that person's had to go through.
Do you know
And
what
I really always like to inspire people and tell people that actually there's been a journey, and that journey has actually included a lot of traumatic experiences that actually a lot of the time for my age, I really shouldn't have gone through those things. So actually what I'm doing now particularly is like, is focusing, especially in the last 5 years. You asked like, what is my gems, and my takeaway really is, first and foremost, don't watch no one else's journey. But also for me now, there's, one of the things that I've been trying to do is just manifest joy and enjoy the moments and the great things that come.
Yes.
And really take time to enjoy them, because, I'm very careful now about where I place myself and put myself and position myself, because I'm all about protecting my energy and making sure I don't pour from an empty cup. So I guess that's one of my big takeaways to everyone else, is just to protect your energy. If something don't feel right, really listen to that in your gut and your fire in your belly, and only put yourself in places and spaces that make you feel great, and around people that make you feel great. And
100%.
That's what I've learned over time, But yeah, like you said, I think, my biggest thing is always that there's a journey behind everybody, and I don't look at things and what people do anymore and go, I wish I was doing that, or blah, blah, blah. Our journeys are different. And everything is always a smoke screen or a snippet of what really has gone on behind the scenes. So,
absolutely.
I think, those are my biggest takeaways from it.
Yeah, I resonate so much with that, because I always like to say, people see the glory, but they don't know the story.
No, that's a good one.
See the glory, but you don't know the story. People, like you say, will look at you, look at whoever, be like, I want this, I want that, but I guarantee you don't actually. You want what they got, but you don't want to. You wouldn't want to have gone through what they gone through to be able to be where they are right now. So, you're talking about joy there, then, and I'm all about my joy, protecting my peace.
Yeah.
I manifest, I journal, I do all of that. And that for me is how I protect my peace and how I navigate through life. I say post-cancer, and for living with, sometimes I don't even like to say living with cancer, because it's just, that's not how I feel. Do you understand what I mean? That is not how I feel. I'm very much aware that I have a cancer diagnosis. I'm very much aware that it's an incurable cancer. I'm very much aware that my life is very different to what it was before. But do I allow that to dictate my life right now? Absolutely not. Some days, they're not great days. But for the most part, I'm good. And I'm only able to be good because I surround myself with the right people. Yeah. I protect my peace, and I do what works and what's right for me. So I had to have you guys on today, because I needed to just be like, honestly, if my knees weren't so bad, I'll be bowing down to you. Like, what brings you joy, Leanne?
Being with my people, as I said, socializing, traveling, reading, walks, exercise. Those are the travel holidays, social, all of that with my peeps. Anything kind of like, and my work brings me joy as well. Like, I love it. I love what I do. I'm
I can tell.
So blessed. I wouldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah, you couldn't do it otherwise. Yeah, you couldn't.
It's hard. It's. I was lucky enough to start something really young that I really enjoy, and I've never had a bad job. Yeah. So I'm really, really lucky that I've had that, and I feel like, those are the things that bring me joy.
What about you, Kaz? What brings
the obvious would be to say my son.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
But I think for me, joy is having a consultation with a client that has a child on the spectrum, and seeing that child eat better, protect their gut health, and a lot of their diagnosis disappear.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're here to cure.
Yes,
But
but
I've seen changes.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, when
That's my joy. My joy is seeing other people thrive.
Absolutely.
If I've helped them as well, and being part of their journey.
Yeah.
I think a reason why I say that for me is because in my life right now I feel complete.
Oh.
And I think once you feel complete, the next step for you is to help others.
Yeah.
And that's my joy. You know, Rumedii is fine. He's not in hospital.
I love that.
I'm okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing that I am worrying about. There's nothing there. So for me, my joy is to pour into others. My cup is overflowing now. That's what it is. So that because it's overflowing, that's where I can help others.
Absolutely.
And that's my joy. Just very simple things.
Simple things
And also food.
I love food.
Love so much.
It's food.
listen, right. So I am doing the Pressure to Passion playlist, and music is in my DNA.
Yeah.
Right? Music is my DNA. If you had to describe, I'm not going to ask you to sing, because I'm not going to sing.
Please don't tell me to sing.
If you could describe your your life in 3 songs, what would those 3 songs be? Because I want to add them to my Pressure to Passion playlist.
I don't have 3, but I have 1.
Okay, 1.
And it's really clear what my one is. My one is not clear. Sorry, no, you wouldn't. It's not clear. It's clear to me. It's clear to me what my one is, but it's Notorious B.I.G. Sky's the Limit.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's my favourite song in the whole wide world. And I don't know, I subconsciously didn't even know that was my song when I loved that song and called it my favourite song. That was like when I was at school, a 14, 15-year-old, getting the lyrics, trying to write the lyrics, stopping the tracks, me and my friend, the whole of the Biggie album, and then that was my song and her song was something else, and, you know, we'd face off with each other with the song. And then when life started to life and I was listening to that song,
It
brought a different... And when I actually learnt what the real lyrics were, not the ones I was writing down, I started to be like, rah, like, subconsciously, this is me. This is me. This is my life. This is even the things he speaks about in the song. Like, there's certain aspects of it that is like spoke to me. So yeah, when I hear that song, I still get goosebumps.
Sky's the limit.
And it means the world. To put on your playlist.
That will be on the playlist. G.
Mine would have to be Whitney Houston, I believe. I believe.
See, you did
That one. That's the one. Because I don't know if that's the right title for the song, but it's that. It's
Don't worry,
that
I'll get it
one.
from you after.
Yeah, it's that Whitney Houston song. And sometimes it doesn't get me on certain days. But when it does get me on days, it's like, it's like, it's that situation. But that song means a lot through the journey because it just means you have to just continue to believe. And that's what we're all doing.
Well, I'll be putting those on the playlist, and I just want to thank you both for gracing me today with your presence, blessing our listeners with some gems. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm going to give you a round of applause. Thank you. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, definitely come back, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Pressure to Passion, redefining your life after trauma. Until next time, God bless.